My name is Emil. I'm a digital strategist. I answer marketing questions, and this is episode 39. And this is one of my favorite questions of the month so far because we're talking about something I really got my feet wet with and scraped my knuckles raw. Google Ads for service businesses. So the question is from my YouTube channel, and it's from Yusuf Lewis. And he says, "Hey, I'm a cleaning business owner, residential, and I've been able to scale to 10,000 a month with PPC." He's talking about Thumbtack and Yelp, and scraping with low-hanging fruit and FB groups. Absolutely amazing strategy. Super thrilled to hear it. Now he's interested in turning on the gas for marketing and building out his ad strategy, and wants to go direct to the source, which is Google Ads. But he doesn't have a foundational experience within Google Ads, so wants to know where to start because there really is so many different places to start. Let's jump into this question. What I'm going to cover in this video today is the pros and cons of Yelp, Thumbtack, and Angie's List and how to utilize them even when you're running your own Google Ads. What is a must learn when you're structuring your first ad strategy on Google Ads? Like, these are unavoidable. You've got to get familiar with them. And then the most critical tracking tool, I think, for service businesses. But first, every Sunday, I send out one email that recaps all the marketing questions I answered that week. If you want to stay up to date on best practices, strategies, and become an overall stronger marketer, I think you would really enjoy this recap. It would mean the world to me if you could subscribe to the newsletter and my YouTube channel. Now, back to the answer. This is what I wished I knew before I started running Google Ads, and then why I wish I would have ran them even sooner than I did. Jumping into this, there's a need for your business, right? Your business, residential detailing service, people need this. And there's one of two ways they're gonna find you, regardless of what your efforts are. One way is a recommendation, and the other way is you seeking out that new business. Those are the only two options you have: recommendations or seeking out new business. With Facebook, about 15% of the people, and this is my experience with my own businesses, this is and client businesses years and years in the making now. So roughly 15% of local service businesses can generate real brand new good leads through Facebook and through just recommendations. Now, over a period of time, this compounds and you start building up a really big library of people who've been recommendations of yours. But in the early stages, about 15%, and that is if you have an email list running, you're hitting the communities hard on Facebook, which you are. Those recommendations and Facebook leads, about 15% of the total available work out there for you. 85% of the people, they jump into Google, and Bing to some percentage, but it's really Google. Let's not kid ourselves. And when they go to Google, they have a intent-based problem. They need it solved now. But if you look at Facebook, I think majority of leads that come from Facebook and recommendations, depending on some recommendations, but let's just say Facebook for now. Facebook is people looking for deals and they're planning a service. I have my own clients, other people's clients. If you look at the leads that come from Facebook and you really study them, they're harder to close. They take more effort. There's a lot of price shopping, and people are planning way far out. They may be planning 30, 60, 90, 120 days. And if you're in a Facebook group or you're just promoting on your own page with some videos or just some text, promoting it on even on your personal page, you also have the competition in there. They could come in and comment. You could have other people that could say something positive or negative in it. But it's such a long chain of work to be done for service businesses. It really is. Whereas in contrast, you have 85% of the people, a bigger percent of the population, going right to Google and searching for their need, mobile detailer or whatever the service happens to be. And there we're competing with our competition. But what's interesting is our competition is people who are going directly to the source, the customer. But there's also Thumbtack buying ads, Angie's List buying ads, and other third-party people buying ads. Yelp is buying ads. Everyone's buying ads. And when you look at it, both of those ways get you to your service, but you in both instances are sort of further from the customer. There's always going to be a medium in between. So if you have to pick a medium to fight against and to learn and to optimize with, you should always pick the one that has the highest population count and it has the better client base. And to me, somebody who needs a problem solved today is a better client than somebody who may need it in the near future, especially if I'm talking about limited resources, limited time, limited energy. So that being said, if I'm going to put my focus into something, I wish I would have just started off with Google Ads, not with third-party services. And if we analyze why, we can talk about the pros and cons of that. So the third-party service business platforms, they do serve a really solid purpose. Let's just jump into that. First, they're great for early businesses that don't have a lot of infrastructure, don't have a lot of resources. You go there, you get validated, you set up, you're incredible. It's less work for the owner. And most of the time, it's the smaller businesses that are doing really, really well on Angie's List and on Yelp and on Thumbtack. From there, as we understand it to be, the profitability can just last forever. You can always be closing great leads on these services, 100%. But I think, to me, if we're doing the energy and the effort it takes to be excellent Thumbtack or Yelp businesses, we're actually hurting ourselves, because you're not building your business. You're building your profile on their business. That is detrimental to long-term growth for you, because if they go out of business, so does all that goodwill. Or if they're absorbed by another company, or they just have a wild hair up their ass and decide that the last 5 reviews you got, they're not quality reviews, so they're not going to show them. So this is a component that happens to businesses all the time, and it's awful. And the cost of reaching that audience base on Yelp, Thumbtack, and Angie's List is just getting more and more expensive, because they're passing the ever-increasing cost of advertising those leads back to you. Next, reviews don't follow you. This is the lifeblood of service businesses. It's reviews, 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 reviews. And if your reviews are locked up in an ecosystem that vast majority of people don't use or trust or want to look at, you're not helping your cause. Sure, you might be the best reviewed person on Angie's List or Thumbtack in your area, but 85% of the people are looking elsewhere for business. And when they see that, do they want to open up an account? Do they want to do this when the barrier to entry is becoming harder and harder? Yet another thing to connect with, yet another. And if you leave all of that work your customers did to give you good reviews and all that work you did to earn those reviews, they don't follow you. If you stop promoting and using Thumbtack because there's so many people who lowball on there, suddenly all of that goodwill again doesn't go yield well to your favor. And then, because you're using a base platform system like that has, this is how everyone operates on it, you get everyone else's results. You do what everybody else does, you're going to get everyone else's results. This doesn't mean it's bad, but it just means you're limited on those platforms. You can't create amazing experiences. You can't pre-qualify in better situations. You're limited to the tools and to the access levels and to the best practices of each platform. And again, you're investing in these platforms. They're not investing back into you, right? It's always going to escalate how much money you got to give them to be relevant. And then, unequivocally, it's the limited audience base. That limited audience base of a smaller percentage of people who have accounts and set it up, and they have this ecosystem, they're there and there's good business. But so many other people just want to get right down to discussing the next steps or taking care of their problem immediately. They don't want to open up a new account. They don't want to do these things. So as long as these Thumbtack and Angie's List, if their user count doesn't keep growing, and specifically doesn't keep growing in your area, the available market you can reach starts to decrease. And I see this happening all the time. An increase in user base globally for a platform, but where it matters, where your consumers are, it's decreasing because they're out of fashion. There's areas in the United States where Yelp is badass to be on, and other ones it doesn't matter. Same system, same exact results, but in Texas, Yelp is used for a lot more businesses than, let's say, Georgia, where Georgia's pretty much just restaurants. So the same strategy that's doing well for a contractor or a mobile detailer in Texas with Yelp won't work here. But if you had the same strategy on Google in Texas, it'll also work in Georgia. So you're investing in platforms that'll grow with you rather than against you. So that's important. So that being said, addressing the pros and cons or the strengths and weaknesses of these, we realize that the most important thing that we can ask of any platform we're going to invest our money in is the fact that there's a larger percentage of population, we can communicate our thoughts clearly, and we control user experience. Now, that being said, I wish I understood that, because I would have immediately jumped into Google and started building my Google profile. So this is what I wish and how I would have attacked it differently, and how I do recommend and do attack it for clients differently these days. At the very top is the GMB, the Google My Business. This is your access to all the people who need your services. There's A couple different things GMB has wrapped up in it. First off, it's going to be the most trusted source of reviews for you. So you should focus all your review energy into your Google My Business. Setting up, optimizing, and properly kicking ass on Google My Business is something that even most local service businesses right now, Q4, getting close to Thanksgiving in 2021, don't even understand how to do. Just by understanding how GMB interacts with its audience and how it could best represent your business, that's such a huge needle to move forward. Focus on GMB. It's one of the most important items because this is going to interact with every other step in Google Ads, your GMB. I shoot for 5 to 10 positive reviews every single week, and it is absolutely possible. One of the strategies that I used with my service business when we had it was we would take small 1-hour jobs, things that take 1 hour or 30 minutes to an hour, over deliver just to start increasing our reviews. So we wouldn't make money on that job. We'd break even after labor cost and overhead and all that, but we would get a positive review more than 75% of the time. Within 6 months, I had the best reviewed service business in my area, and that alone paid for itself many times over. You'll never fail by investing in the infrastructure of where you're going to show up on maps, on recommendations, and use the entire suite of Google tools to help consumers who are searching for your services. Second, understand how Google search works fundamentally, like from the ground up, how Google search works, what the auction looks like, what service businesses need to consider, and all we want to focus on is no other property that Google offers, just Google search. Just learn about the Google search ecosystem. When it starts to pull you away to Google Local or Performance Max or something or whatever the new thing is, don't worry about it. Just think about Google search, and remember, Google search is there to help the person searching. So the more your ad can help somebody, the better you're going to be rewarded. And then learn about YouTube video pre-rolls. When in a national setting they do really good, in an international setting they do really good, but in a local service business with a small circumference, let's say 10 to 25 miles, they do ridiculously well and super undervalued for local businesses. So Google search specifically for small businesses, and YouTube videos, how they operate. Once you understand that, we go back to what a conversion is. You're gonna, as your Google My Business is optimized, you move down to Google search and YouTube, and you're starting to learn the ins and outs of how those two work as far as advertising platforms. You're inevitably going to get presented with what conversion are you optimizing for. And a conversion, do not be confused, it's just anything you find valuable. And if you're early on into business, a conversion doesn't just mean a lead. It could mean somebody watching a video on your page for 50%. It could mean that somebody was on your page for longer than 2 minutes and browsed around the offers and services, and you can stair-step conversions. Understanding what a conversion is and how Google uses conversions to aid your account is tantamount to understanding everything about Google, really. And then understanding Google signals. What a signal that a business sends out and what are signals that users send out that Google pairs up that business and that searcher in real time. Then writing great ad copy. If you know how to write badass ad copy, the kind of ad copy that really helps somebody understand who you are quickly and succinctly, this will be applied to how you write your Google ads, how you develop your landing pages, your offers, your Google My Business. You're always writing ad copy, and the fundamentals of great ad copy are TOR: time, objection, and results. You want to let somebody know how fast you can do something. You want to overcome an objection within the ad copy, and you want to promise the results that you can deliver. The best piece of ad copy, I recommend this a million times. If you watch my videos before, I'm sure you've heard me say this. One of the best examples of this is 6-minute abs. You know everything you need about this program. There's no confusion. There's no misdirection. You can just ask questions of it. But 6-minute abs tells you what they're going for. Then we have keyword and ad group theming. So now we understand our Google My Business. We understand how Google search works in a local area and how I could use YouTube videos to run pre-roll ads to people who've been to my page possibly. I understand that conversions don't just mean leads. They can be micro interactions that I set as high value that determine that somebody might convert with me to the ultimate conversion. I've learned how Google signals work, what I can do as a business to project everything I need into the algorithm and what we're searching for from end users. Now I understand how to write great ad copy. Now I can go and start putting together keywords for different services. So if you have a detailing service, and I'm assuming this is an auto detailing service, I could be wrong, but if it is auto detailing, you're going to have different types of people. You've got people who have odor issues in their cars. You have people who have buff and wax needs. You have people who have upholstery issues. So these are going to be different ad groups, and they're all going to have their own different keywords. So the upholstery keyword ad group will not have the same keywords as your buff and wax ad group keywords. So understanding how keywords and ad groups matter in theming, and then writing ad copy for each group is going to be just the bee's knees for you. And then bidding. Once you get all this, you're going to be presented with bidding options. In the beginning, you want to go for cost per click, and you don't want to set a limit to it. You just want to understand the environment, and this can be dangerous for some people, but if you do conversion tracking correctly, and it's a service business, rely on micro conversions and the macro conversions, and create conversion action sets that are valuable to you, then you can move to a CPA-based bidding model. But in the beginning, learn the difference between CPC and CPA bidding. Everything else is really not relevant to service businesses early on. Just as a cautionary tale there. And then the last is auditing. Understanding where each one of these disciplines you just went through, how you can tell whether they're performing good or bad. For instance, ad copy. If your CTR is below 5%, your ad copy is terrible. For a service business, I will stand by this till the day somebody proves me wrong, but you give me a service business in the most competitive area in the United States of America, I will get you 5, 7, 9, 10, and 15% CTRs within 30 days, guaranteed. Because, again, we're trying to solve problems for people. So auditing, knowing that your CTR is below 5%, you know where to jump into. And then lastly, once you understand how to find those issues, you get moved on to another set of tools, and that's learning how to optimize your website for conversions. I think that's a little beyond this video, but I may make a video for service business optimizations for websites. I've always thought you should be solving problems the moment somebody lands on there. But if you look at this step and you turn it sideways and you just keep repeating, it's a sound wave. You get big impact, an echo, and then you got a whole new section. Then big impact, echo, and a whole new section. I believe that the sound wave is the way to think about project management, to think about campaign structure, and to think about performance. But that, again, is another topic. Our goal through all of this is CTR above 5%, relevant searches, so your keywords are pulling the kind of searches you're happy to pay for, and your landing page gets some action, like people get on the page and then they call you, fill out a form, or start solving their problem with a questionnaire some way on there. And when I track for service businesses, above all else, CallRail. CallRail will tell me which extensions are getting calls, which ads are getting calls, and I'll be able to audit those calls by listening into them, seeing which keywords trigger them, which campaign, whether it's organic, whether it's Facebook. The level of tracking with CallRail is absolutely amazing. After that, learning Google Analytics and Google Tag Manager implementation and how to properly structure that for your micro conversions, and of course the close ratio. This is something I'm really studying at all times. I will take a look at 90 days worth of business, and I'll take where did the business come from, what was my close ratio on it, and how much did it earn me, and then at the end of that, I'll take how much time, energy, and money did I spend in those platforms, and see which one's yielding the best. Whichever one, whether it's Facebook, Yelp, whatever platform's yielding me the best temporary results, I'm going to scale it until it becomes autonomous for getting me leads, and then I move on to the next one. So if you right now are relying on Yelp and Thumbtack, keep rocking Yelp and Thumbtack, but take the best practices and start moving it over to your Google My Business, getting that set up, open up your Google Ads account, and start learning those individual sections. And by the time you're done learning, you can launch on Google and just have huge success. So I hope this was helpful. It was fun to make this video. If it moved the needle forward for you at all, please, it would mean the world to me if you could subscribe below. Every Sunday I send a recap of all the answers that I've answered that week. And as always, good luck and happy marketing.